So very good evening. Today is Thursday, a day dedicated to gurus and to the trainers, to the educators. And we are with our webinar on the series where we are meeting trainers of MEPSC, Sector Skill Council, Management and Entrepreneurship, Professional Skill Council. And they are going to talk to us and share their views, share their experiences with us on their training part on education, educators, teachers, and mental wellness. And this is something really interesting every week when we share with all our dear audience on YouTube Live, the viewpoints, the experiences of the trainers, of the educators and the experts from their own mouth, that what is actually required, what is happening, and what is the future when we talk about the education ecosystem and the training part. And we are very thankful to MEPSC for this. To begin with, let's just see what is the significance of today's webinar. And before bringing our guest speakers in front of all you, I want to share a few slides of what ICSI is doing, what is the vision, and what are the action plans that has been taken by ICSI in the past and in the coming future. So what is ICSI to begin? We are very glad that with your support, with your cooperation, with your care, every one of you, with your love and affection, we are doing this webinar series. We have started it in the way back in 2020 when there's lockdown announced, and we are running this series from the year 2020, making education relevant. And we are a chamber dedicated for service industry. And specifically when we say services, we are more into education, focusing nowadays specifically onto education services. And we want with the cooperation of intellectual mind across the globe, because now we all are a global family. The cooperation of entire intellectual minds across the globe, we should and we will contribute towards making education relevant. And here's come the significance of 12th May. I want to wish everyone an International Nurse Day. When we talk about services and when we talk about the dedication and when we talk about care, what else to give an example other than nurses? And we salute the carehood, the motherhood, the sisterhood, the brotherhood of this particular profession that has been given to us, and wishing everyone a happy International Day. Just learn, even if you are not into this profession, just learn to care for everyone, not just about the patient, but about the human beings also, about the each and every person you are surrounded with. So happy International Nurse Day. And along with that, a few years ago, United Nations has started this particular day, that is 12th May, as International Day of Plant Health. So we have to take care of our ecosystem also, of our environment also, of nature also, and Mother Earth also. And we have totally seen this, and we have learned this lesson, especially during the COVID times, that how important is to keep the harmony with nature. And as I told, this particular series, this particular webinar series, not possible without MEPSC. We are very thankful to them, and especially to Colonel Anil Kumar Pokhriyalji, the CEO of MEPSC. And we are really seeing the worth and the quality and the passion that has been brought into the trainers, master trainers, entrepreneurs, and other specific things that MEPSC has brought into the people, those are associated with them, who have taken training with them, or doing things which are for startups, professional management services, and other areas, particularly into the services and other specific areas of education and job roles. So ICSI, dedicated for service industry, and ICSI action plan is a strive. We want to make you understand what we feel, when we say we have to make education relevant, because education is not just gaining a degree, it is much more beyond that, and it is incomplete without skills and MSME, that is entrepreneurship and employment. So together this trio can make and can contribute towards Atmanirbhar Bharat, Shiksha, Kaushalta, Udyamita. We has got one vision of finishing school for service industry, where we cater to all kinds of skills development programs, not just hard skills, but soft skills and even life skills. So all aspects of skills, and we have trained so much teachers and youth in this program. And then comes the pandemic, and during pandemic, what we have come out, because you can see on our YouTube channel, starting from March 2020, all webinars that we have done, they are not just of one type, they are not just for one particular program, one particular theme, but they are a flavor of programs, they are a flavor of things under the broader umbrella of making education relevant. And these points that has been listed, they are the outcomes of the webinars that we have held, and we can say that these are the essentialities that are very much required in the present times. So mental wellness, physical wellness, and most important is making harmony with nature and getting back to basics. So we have dedicated this year for teachers and youth empowerment, and we believe that if every component of services industry work together with a key focus on education, then we can have that vision of Vishwa Guru Bharat, and we can contribute towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. And as such, we are into the Amrit Kal. We are celebrating the Amrit Mahotsav, the 75th India's independence year. And this is the Amrit Kal that we are going through, and we have dedicated all our webinars and all our thought process towards developing or towards contributing even the minutest form towards the empowerment of our country and making Atmanirbhar Bharat. And we have also seen whether many of the people says that there are a lot many things that has happened during COVID time, positive and negative also, but a very positive thing that we have seen is the national education policy. Earlier we used to call it new education policy, but during the Man Ki Baat and Pariksha Pe Charsha that our honorable Prime Minister hold, he told that it is not new education policy, it is national education policy. And we are so proud for that. And yes, it has a vision, it has a mission, and it gives us a future vision also. So we are thankful for that also. And along with that education, that the trio that we are talking about, when we say the Ministry of entrepreneurship and skills development. So we have lot many sector skill council. There are around about 37 sector skill council at present in India, which are collectively into different sectors. And this, specifically the students can take training with these sector skill council, and they can start their own ventures. And education and skills can contribute lot many things. And when the pandemic happens, the physical part of our finishing school goes digital into e-Gurukul inspirational lab, and all the training programs, all the energy and knowledgeable sessions going on through digital mode and through these webinars. And we are proud of that, and we are very much thankful to our audience also. And these includes all these things. Basically, we think that education is incomplete without music, without dance, gamification, happiness, humor, creativity. We have to include all these things into the education ecosystem. And when we say that education should be relevant, we mean that it should be relevant to our day-to-day life, why we are doing that. If we are studying something, why we are doing. And I'm not going to read all these things out, but I want to say that education should be that which don't create any stress to the learner, but it gives the mental happiness, because there is no price tag for mental happiness. And we have completed so many webinars during the pandemic, and you all can, as I was talking to you, you all can watch that on our YouTube ICSI channel. You can like that, you can share that, you can subscribe that, and you can give your valuable suggestions also. And tomorrow you're going to have the conversation with Madam Sakshi on business ecosystem for women at 8 p.m. And with this, whatever your mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, this is not just a quote, but a belief system in your life. If you believe this, you can definitely going to achieve. You can give your valuable suggestions on the given email ID and the WhatsApp number, so that we can bring more and more into our programs on a live YouTube channel for you to get knowledge, to get information, and to get a kind of a hand holding for everyone, for the teachers, for the educators, for the youth, and for each and every individual, those who are watching us. And with this, please put your hands together with me to give a warm invitation to Dr. Smita Sharma ji, Madam Sadhana Deshmukh ji, and Mr. Prateek, our guest speaker for today evening. And we are very happy to have all of you with us today. And we are glad that you have given us your time. So I just request, first of all, Madam Sadhana Deshmukh ji to begin with, to give her a brief introduction to us and then her topic. Ma'am, a very good evening to you.
Good evening, Chitra. Thank you for inviting me for this webinar, a topic that I really enjoy. It's a passion. Training is passion, so I can talk about training. So a little more about me. I originally hail from Mumbai, born, brought up, studied in Mumbai. Last 20 years in Bangalore, and last 2 years in Mangalore, working with NITTE deemed to be university as a director for Staff Development Center. So that's a short introduction about me. I will let you know what exactly I do at NITTE while I'm presenting, when I present the initiatives that we have taken at NITTE deemed to be university. So yes, I'll be sharing my screen. Chitra, can I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Are you able to view?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the topic that is given to me, can I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Perfect. So the topic that is given to me to talk on today is importance of trainers in Indian skill ecosystem. Now, during my presentation, it will last about 10 minutes, 10 to 11 minutes. And I may use trainers and educators interchangeably sometimes. So in case if there is any confusion, we can always sort it out when we take the questions. Sure, so to understand basically the importance of trainers, we need to understand the skill development ecosystem in India. As we all know, it's very complex, is large, is diverse, and provides skills to extremely heterogeneous population. So when you are a trainer in this kind of ecosystem, you really have to be good. You really have to be trained well so that you can cater to various segments of the population. So there are two types of broad categories of skill development in India where we look at. One is the education, where the various courses are conducted and the students graduate or they do the post-graduation. And of course, the subjects are taught. That is where the trainers or educators role play, they play very important role. And of course, the second part is the vocational training that that is prevalent in Indian system. Now, when we are looking at Indian population in India, approximately 1.40 billion, out of which 0 to 25 years fall, 50% of them fall in that category. So we are, as we all keep on saying, we are a young nation, and that is where the trainers, educators are going to play and are playing very important role to create the youth that is job ready. And that is where the trainers play extremely important role. Now, there are two types of training programs or the skills that we train students on. One is, of course, technical or subject related training. And the other one that is called human skills training, or sometimes it is called essential skills training, life skills training, soft skills training. Everything collapses. But as we all know, that to be in any sector, we need to have three different types of skills. One, of course, the technical skills, human skills, and business skills. So as you are, as you enter the industry, you need technical skills. Your technical skills have to be very strong. As you go to the middle management, your technical skills and human skills have to be, equally, they're equally important. At a lower level, when you enter, maybe technical skills are more important than your human skills. And you go as at a top level, your human skills become more important, or rather your business skills are important, but then even human skills are important. But then as you say, that human skills, whether you are at an entry level, whether you are at a middle level, or whether you are at a top level, human skills remain the same. The importance of human skills remain the same. And that is where the trainers are going to make a difference. One is subject related, technical training, as well as the essential skills training. And that is what we need to look at when we train the trainers, or we train our own faculty members, or when we train the students. Now, important factors of the skill ecosystem is quality training and learning. Why is it important? Because the trainers who are trained on quality and trained on learning outcomes are going to be in the classrooms or in the training sessions, and they are going to impact the participants there. And that is why the training which is imparted to the trainers or to the educators have to be of a certain quality, and the quality has to be maintained definitely, because that is where this particular population of educators and trainers is going to impact the youth of our country. And in turn, that is getting impacted, or the impact is created in various sectors. That is what we all have to remember. And of course, because of that, because the trainers are going to create a lot of impact on the youth, and in turn in the various sectors in the industry, adequate support to the trainers is very, very important. It could be the proper training, it could be the other technical training, and of course the quality, as I keep on saying, always the quality has to be maintained. So let us see what are the attributes of a effective trainer. When we talk about training, or when we say a trainer is very important to impact the skill development in the youth, and that's the large population in India. One is, of course, very important: leadership and management skills have to be developed in any trainer or any educator. Because all of us as educators or trainers, we have to understand, when we enter the classroom or when we enter the training hall, many a times we stand there as a role model. And that is why our skills have to be sharpened every now and then. So one is leadership, management skills, personal qualities, the attitude part of it, the value part of it, the ethics part of it, and the various habits and the behavior. All those qualities the trainers have to get trained on. Time management, many a times, very, very important factor that each and every trainer needs to have. Only then it's basically, when you are a trainer, it's walk the talk. You are the walking example and talking example in front of everybody. And that is where the trainers are extremely important. Collaborative skills, collaboration with other institutes, collaboration with other disciplines, because collaborative research is another area where the trainers should look at, because research work is going to improve the quality of trainers. Also, collaboration with the industry, extremely important. Are you connected with the industry? Do you know what the industry requirements are? Do you know what kind of skills are required in the today's industry? Now, that connection has to be there, and that is why you need to collaborate with the industry very often. And then only then, when you enter the classroom, you can create the job ready youth. Right now, that is where the many a times the industry comes back saying that many of the youths are not ready for the industry. They don't have the skills required by the industry. And that is where the trainer should have the collaborative skills to understand what the industry requires. The other very important aspect is teaching pedagogy, learning outcomes, and the assessment part of it. Every trainer, every educator should be trained on this. And this has to be a continuous training on all these topics, rather. And of course, technology is playing havoc after pandemic. We were resisting going online, many of the institutes, but then all of us have gone online now. So using the various platforms, using the LMS effectively, all these trainings have to be given to the trainers so that they are very effective when they enter the training hall or when they enter the classrooms. Now, these are very essential skills that any trainer should have. Now, what are the various initiatives I am involved into? See, we have a staff development center, and I believe that not many universities have it. They have a center of excellence, but then staff development center works at a very different level. We train the faculty members as well as the teaching staff as well as the non-teaching staff, because the support staff is extremely important. If they are equipped well, they can, the support that they can give to the teaching staff will be at a different level. So we and the training for faculties as well as non-teaching staff, of course, for faculty members, it's the subject related and the essential skills. For the non-teaching staff, it is administrative skills, which are very essential, plus the other essential skills or human skills, which are, covered. We also are into the process of developing the education units for various institutes. Like, if I have to give example, for medical studies, they have medical education unit, that is MEU, and they conduct all the programs for medical fraternity, technical as well as non-technical. But then there are various other, like dental, if you take, or nursing you take, they don't have the education unit. So we are in the process of creating that. And these education units are under Staff Development Center, where they come up with their requirements. What are their requirements when it comes to the subject-related subjects, subject-related training? And then the Staff Development Center supports that. Of course, we conduct the faculty development programs for, of course, the teaching fraternity. As I said, subject related, and the other factor, and also the we also upgrade them when it comes to technology, how to use various platforms, how to use various, tools very effectively, so that when they get into the classroom, of course, the LMS, how to use the LMS effectively, that is also covered many a times, and that helps quite a lot. And all these training programs are periodical. I mean, they are repeated every 3 months or every 6 months. And we also conduct something called impact analysis after every 3 months. So if you go through a training program, after 3 months, I'll be getting in touch with them, asking them how they have used the skills that they have been trained on, if they could use or they could not use, and what are the other requirements after that. And of course, we also do the trainer programs, but also we encourage our faculty members to go through the trainer programs, like through the government offers so many trainer programs. MEPSC offers train programs. So we also encourage our faculty members to go through that, because it helps quite a lot. Any kind of training for that matter is essential periodically. And the moment you go through the periodical training programs, the trainers are going to be very effective. Trainers are going to be, very can create the required skills in the youth, and in turn is going to impact the industry that we are. I mean, that's the kind of impact, and that is why the trainers are extremely important. So this is all from my side, Chitra. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope I have given few important points to the audience. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. It is crisp, beautifully presented, and in a very summarized manner, you have given a proper glimpse of what is actually trainers part. There are a few questions that I need to ask, but I'll put that later on. Now I go to Dr. Smita ji. And ma'am, we welcome you and good evening. And now we want to hear from you.
Yeah, good evening all. This is Dr. Smita. Thank you, MEPSC, for again providing this opportunity of interacting with everyone. It was a pleasure to hear Sadhana ma'am. And of course, some of my presentation also will incorporate some part of what we are doing for skilling out at our university. So a brief background about me. I'm Dr. Smita Sharma, and I'm basically from Ajmer. I started my career with Sophia Girls College, Ajmer. Thereafter, I've been associated with Rajasthan University as a senior research fellow, and presently I'm working at Tapni School of Business, Manipal University, Jaipur. So I am associated with the B School out here. So most of the work which I have done till now is somewhere associated with the education system in the B schools, and again, skilling and upskilling the students out there. I am presently also the placement coordinator for a B school over here, and that is one of the aspects in terms of how we actually deal every day with the different kinds of students, and again, how to train them effectively to be industry ready and provide a lifelong service to the corporates. I'd just like to share my screen first so that I can come up with the major insights of what I would like to share today.
Sure, ma'am. And ma'am, by the time you are doing that, we want to ask it, how's the weather in Rajasthan nowadays, specifically where you are?
Yeah, the weather is great, and of course we have started the heat waves, but again, temperature till 48 degrees, I believe, is comfortable. After that, it becomes a bit unbearable.
Right, ma'am. So, right. Please go ahead.
Okay, so thank you very much again. This webinar on education, educators, teachers, and again mentors, mental wellness. So I start with a small study which was being conducted by the British Council. And the study was specifically focused on trainer effectiveness in the Indian skill ecosystem. That is, how exactly are we skilling the Indian ecosystem, particularly pertaining to the education system. So the major highlights of this particular study were that we need to evolve a structure for lifelong learning, not only for the students, but also for the trainers who we are getting. So this particular scheme of things, which was training the trainers, that was an aspect which is associated with, again, this lifelong learning aspect. And again, if we talk only about the quantity aspect, getting a large number of trainers, that doesn't sound well. So ensuring that the quality is there at the entry level and it continues lifelong with these trainers. Again, to provide them domain certification, as ma'am said, that we can have an educational aspect with regard to training and a vocational training which can be provided to the scholars. So that is one. Domain certification is also required for the trainers at one place, and the pedagogical learning processes which are there. If you look into the Singapore system, the 3-step training process which they have, the learning process which is there, if you need to follow that, that is, you need to unlearn, you need to relearn, and then you need to upskill yourself with that particular learning process. And how to professionalize all the trainers who are there at this particular level, how to get them into the training process, and finally, how to ensure that they're able to retain that quality at each of the levels when they themselves are imparting training. So this was an important study which led to many important aspects with regard to training in education, particularly with the aspect of getting students ready for the industries, even in terms of mobilizing the students and then reskilling them to certain aspects of their industry ready and get into this particular system. So if I speak of my own university, so most of the ventures which we have at our university, they're associated with the understanding that there is no average student. Now, how do I relate to that? Every student who enters my classroom, he has some or the other mental setup, he has some or the other skilling which is already there within, some areas where he might lack. So understanding that through a particular exercise which we do in terms of mapping the student. So every student, when they enter into the educational ecosystem at our university, they are being mapped in terms of certain key skills. Take, for example, one of the most important skills set which we understand that these schools might be having is the ability to take or make decisions. So decision making is one such aspect which is a major requirement for these students. If you look into your own lives, most of the things, the quality of life which we lead is just a result of the decisions which we have taken in our life. So the quality of decisions which we take also impact the quality of lives which we have. Now this is similar in the student setup also. How students with a limited amount of information, with the resources which they have at hand, come up with the best decision-making capability. So that is one aspect which should be there with the students. Second is with regard to critical thinking. Is there any aspect where you can break in the barriers which you have in mind? Take, for example, if we say that we don't live in big houses, we just live in our mind spaces. So everything which is sorted in your mind, then you are living greatly, or you have a great life that way. So this thinking ability, this ability to think creatively, to think critically with the resources at hand is the second important aspect which we want the students to imbibe into. And the third aspect is with regard to creativity. That is how creative they are, how innovative they are, how they can bring about out of the box thinking into providing resolutions to the problems which they have at hand. So this particular student mapping activity helps us understand how we can map the students on these 3-4 important criteria. Another, the fourth one, and the most important criteria which we follow is with regard to the communication skills. Are the students being able to communicate properly? Because we understand that the entire exercise of getting yourself educated is the ability to be able to speak your mind, the empowering you to speak your mind in a fearless way. That is where we can actually differentiate between a student who has a very good education, can speak out mind and communicate properly. A single basic requirement which is there even in the corporate setting nowadays. So these are the 4-5 things which we look into when a student comes to us, and we are able to map the students on all these 4 dimensions. And next, the exercise begins at providing adequate skilling provision to these students. That is, providing the adequate training to these students on all these drugs. So once we know that it is 20, 30, 40, 50, with regard to each of the dimensions which we have kept, we are able to provide the adequate type of skilling to these students. And this is what helps us, as well as also helps the students to outgrow from what they have been in terms of when they came to the university and when they move out from the university with a placement. So this entire cycle of getting the student admitted to the university, then the internship, and finally the placement thing, all these things are mapped out so that the student can outgrow with regard to when he came up to the university and when he's moving outside. Apart from that, now how do we do that? Because again, as ma'am said, that you have a basic aspect of what are the technical skills which are being imbibed in the student and what are the non-technical skills, also the human skills. So we have various kinds of club activities which are there, starting from the music club, the aero club, the maths club, the civil clubs, automobile, because engineering is a major portion of branch of the students whom we have with us, the art club, the photography. So whichever field, whichever domain they feel that they can outgrow themselves. So these are all the facilities which are being provided to them from the university aspect. Now, one aspect of skilling human beings is also through collaborations, as already told by ma'am. Then in that particular aspect, we have certain international collaborations. We have with multiple universities around the world. We have certain national collaborations and certain industrial collaborations. Now, this is where we think that this is the major crunch area which is required nowadays. So for B school student, if he's going for internship, that is the first, you can say, trust or the trust which he has with the industry. So this particular contact point, the first contact point, is something which helps us understand the gaps between the delivery which is a student is having in the B school and what are the exact skills which are required at that particular industry. Depending upon those gaps, as the student has gone for internship, we are able to identify that which all are the areas which still need improvement, be it the technical skills, be it the conceptual skills, and based upon that, we have built upon these industrial collaborations, which help us understand more into what the industry requirements are, and also with regard to what the student has in terms of the skilling requirements with them. Based upon that, we try to bridge upon that particular gap and promote the learning and the research with these particular agencies which are there with the university. The third aspect, which again was focused by Sadhana, was with regard to entrepreneurship, because anything which can come up with the incubation center out there in the university is one such facility which we provide. And innovation, as I told you, encouraging innovation among students is one such important thing which we have already focused upon. And the entrepreneurship, again, it is being provided as an optional major project in the second year of the MBA students also. So we have the MEPSC, that is the Manipal University Technology Business Incubator, which again is the functional center at MUJ. And we provide a base incubation to all those innovative ideas which the students have to refer to us. Now, if you look into the future goals, that what is it that we are looking forward to? So again, as I told you, that is unlearning what you've learned in the past, relearning what is the actual requirement at the ground, and then upskilling yourself in that particular area. So that is a requirement not only for the educators out here, not only for the trainers out here, but also for the students. That is how we can skill them, how we can upskill them, and again help them find out the best kind or come up with the best kind of decision making which they can do once they come out as a business graduate from a school. And that is one of the future goals we have. Now, coming back to in terms of the research aspect, there are many research incubators which are already there working with our university and even with the B schools, be it in terms of certain local food aggregators or cab aggregators. We have come up with various projects which can help these students come up as skillful entrepreneurs who can again not only look in for jobs themselves, but also provide employment to a huge network of people out there. So I'd like to stop here, ma'am. That's all from my end. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for knowing about the university and the functions and your focus areas also. It is really worth listening to. I'll definitely come back to you for a few questions to be asked. But for now, I'm straight away going to Mr. Prateek Kaushik ji. So we welcome you, and now we hand over the platform to you. Over to you, sir.
So namaste to everyone, and
Namaste.
hello to everyone as well. Yeah. So with your due permission, I would like to start with a thanks note to ISTD, MEPSC, and ICSI and other panelists. To allow me to give this opportunity to share what we think and how are things being viewed from the other side, which is called industry. So I would like to start with my presentation, and just be with me for a while so that I can share it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just give me a moment, please. I think there is a technical issue.
No worries, sir. It is given in the very center green color button, share screen. You can press that and you can share your slide.
Just give me a moment, please. I have to configure my system for this. So I won't be able to see the screen because
you can see the mute and start video button.
Yes.
So in that line only, in the center, there is a green color share screen. You can press that first, share screen button. And then a small box will come, which will have your presentation. Then you can share that and then press the button of share, the blue color button.
Yes, but I am thankful to you for sharing this information. But this MacBook is, there are some, technical things which I have to go, and it is allowing me to and asking me to go to the system preference. That might take long, and
no worries. We can hear you like that also. So we are very much okay if you want to share like that without your presentation.
I would like to, as I've told that I hope I'll give a contribution to my level best, as because most of the things has already been covered by the rest of the panelists, and it was very interesting, and it was my pleasure to hear it from their end, and they both are very knowledgeable. Let me say to the panel and audience. So the contents of my presentation will be four only, that wherein I'll start with the introduction of self and my company, which is known as SolutionBox, which is a consulting agency. Then I'll talk about education versus skills and its focus. Third, I'll talk about the importance of trainers, and fourth is SolutionBox and what do we think about skilling. So me myself is a first generation entrepreneur, qualified HR professional, and a Vipassana meditator. I've got domestic and international experience of 15 plus years in countries like India, Africa, UAE, and I've worked with different set of people, that is American, be it European, Chinese, etc., etc. In SolutionBox, we have got exposure to 25 various industries with 100 plus SME consulting clients, and I hold a reputed degree in science, business management, and law. That's where we talk about the education part. I'm an ICF ACSTS certified coach, a lifetime ISTD member, a certified trainer by MEPSC, and an ex-member of Business Network International. Now, when we talk about SolutionBox, with the human first and resource second approach, we are into this industry for last 6 years, and we are a consulting firm who focuses more on human resources and management consulting with coaching. We are based out of Jaipur, India, and one of our offices is there in the Dubai, UAE. Into year 2019, we were rewarded as 10 best startups in Jaipur by Silicon India Startup City. And we also have a certificate of commitment from Central Vigilance Commission, Government of India. We have served clients from different countries like Africa, UAE, China, Russia, Thailand, Oman, and Europe. So am I audible to you?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Great. Yeah, great. So though most of the things has been wisely covered, and I really appreciate the effort of Sadhana ji, wherein she has talked about new education policy, vocational training, and then technical skills, quality training. She has also spoken about learning, appreciativity, and applicability. So with that note, in just addition to that, I would like to start what we at the other end, at the side of industries, view, sight. What do we understand out of phenomenon from our side? That we treat education as the way of imparting knowledge, skills, and learnings. And we believe that it develops critical thinking and creates an eligibility for us, for the students, for the job seeker, for this every single citizen of this country. Whereas skill is basically a sense and practice of special ability or technique. It is also important for personal and economical growth and critical thinking. Yet again, skill is something which helps in critical thinking, whereas education develops the critical thinking. So skilling is very important. Also, it not only creates the eligibility, but it creates the suitability as well. So it's always about creativity versus suitability. And I'll be focusing more on the creativity, suitability versus eligibility. What we believe as on date, that from the industry side, that the focus of skilling should be more on learning by doing. A relatively small number of skills should be practiced in each grade or at every level of different educational courses to ensure the depth and quality of learning. We believe that skill-based education should be, most of the vocational trainings are doing so, but they are not that effective because there may be n number of reasons and factors and gray areas to improve on. But we really believe that skill-based education is the real-time requirement for now. Instead, knowledge-based education. Say for just to give an example, hours of practice one has done versus hours of lectures one has taken. Focus, yeah, very wisely said both by both the panelists about training of trainers. Yes, it is very important, and quality training of trainers with the applicability of quality of what they have learned in learning training, and then applicability of training skills to the audience and different as to the trainees. The focus should be on preference to skills instead degrees and etc. A very nice example I would like to quote here about sports, so and defense forces. So in sports, what happens if we take an example of Virat Kohli or any other good player? They might not have a good degree. They are educated, but they might not have a good degree, but they are very, very, very skilled. Why? Because they have a sense of that skill at the same time with the intense and number of intense practice with number of hours. So that's where I say that preference to skills is more important than to education and degrees. And I'm very glad to know that generally we don't get this much of time to be a part of such webinars and interact with education people. And I'm very glad to hear it from both the panelists that they are working on it. And industry interaction with rigorous practice. Now, I'll talk about the importance of trainers. Yes, trainers, the importance of trainers attributes have already been taken care by Sadhana ji. So I'll just in addition, I'll go forward with saying that essential availability, trainers availability is very, very, very essential to cater the very simple phenomenon factor, we call it factor phenomenon, which is called demand and supply. As on date, the demand in the market is very high of skilled trainers, etc., etc. Same as post-independence, India has gained a very big name in education by having number of teachers. Hope you can imagine what I'm talking about. But if we compare teachers versus trainers, there is a huge gap. So what we what I think here is there has to be equal number of teachers and trainers so that we can bridge the gap in between. We also think wherein we believe that trainers are very essential because of the three-stage cycle of skilling, which starts from skilling, reskilling, and upskilling, and all three are very important. And we need a niche, a specific set of trainers for all these three, which has a sense and practice both of skilling, reskilling, and upskilling. Because reskilling and upskilling, again, is a very challenging job, and one has very good practice in it. Importance of trainers, yes, is very essential, because when we look at the eligibility versus suitability, so what we think is what is eligibility all about? Though you might have, and the audience might have a very good idea about eligibility versus suitability, but here would like to give a little more description to this term, wherein when we say eligibility, it is more about having necessary or basic qualities or requirements to participate in or be chosen for something. For example, if we say, can you drive a forklift? The one says, yes, I can drive the forklift. Whereas the suitability talks about having sufficient and specific skills, competencies for a certain purpose or task. Now it goes above of can. It now talks about though you can perform, but will you be able to perform? And that's where the gap is. Industry, as on date, after vocational trainings, etc., we think one can do that, but there is a huge gap, and there is a skill gap, competency gap of will you be able to do that? Then one says, no, sir, I have to practice, and please give me some more time so that I can take it up. I would like to also give a very nice example of photography. I mean, because recently the skilling, while the panel was talking about skilling, there was a word photography, and there are various institutes, so they are training students on photography skills. Yes, they're training well, but where's the gap when they come? Because there are many e-commerce websites. The students are trained and skilled for how to do photography, but we somehow fail to make them realize the sense of what is the customer expecting out of a photograph, what should be there on the e-commerce platform. When they look at it, what they are expecting out of this photograph, what they're thinking, what kind of decision making they are doing. And that only happens when some student or any of the trainee joins the organization. They have to spend some time there and then move on. Here in ICSI, I would also like to focus on the soft skills. I mean, more or less, there is a major idea that skills are about hard skills. Yes, skills include both hard and soft both. And being in HR for last 15 years, even after people are literate, they are educated, they've got very good degrees, but they really need to work hard, because that's how things appears to be. To us when they come for the interview, when they work, and that's when we realize that there is a gap of professional etiquettes. There is a gap of working in a team. There is a gap of working in a collaborative way than to a competitive way, because we have been trained to be competitive than to be collaborative, whereas organizations looks for collaborations. We also find a gap of their behaviors, the way they preconceive things and react in a proper way. Then that's where the different set of skills are required. Be it telephone etiquettes, be it the presentation etiquettes, be it the behavioral part of one, as in soft skill, is required, wherein one has to respond instead reacting. That is also required to be trained, and that's where the real gaps comes in. People generally join, and then they leave within few days because they have been not trained on that part. And that's where the HR struggles out. They think these are the students, they don't know, understand, they just came out of an MBA and even I can give my example. Once I did my MBA. Yes, it was very difficult for us because immediately after doing the MBA, we landed up like in no man's land. So we didn't know. We have studied a lot, and there were so many good marks on our mark sheets, and we were really confident. But when we faced our bosses, when we faced our customers, and we were like, oh my goodness, we have never been taught about it. And how do we have to do behave or perform now is it's very difficult. But by the grace of God, and by all the hard work our teachers and educators did on us, we somehow managed to do that. But nowadays, because the decades are changed, millennials are getting into the industries, the revolution of technology, every single thing is there, and it becomes really very hard to manage and give jobs to people who they are even literate. I have seen people who they have done masters in arts, masters in commerce, they are applying for security jobs, and they are not trained on that, but that's the only available job they can do now. So there is a huge gap, and we as a SolutionBox and from the industry side, we are going forward, wherein our goal in the ecosystem is to spread awareness and promote skill-based employment, and instead degree-based eligibility employment with our clients. We also ask them for, we also request them, we also promote ongoing trainings, not only one-day training, even ongoing training. Even beyond that, we are also focused. Our goal, and we have done thousands of man-hours of skill-based training to different organizations. But still there is a gap wherein one needs to be not mentored or consulted, but one needs to be coached on how to use, how to apply that skill in real-time world. And coaching with that's where comes into the picture. And that's where the another opportunity comes in beyond training, and that is of coaching. We as a SolutionBox, I as a Prateek is committed to coach people on appropriate application of skills, not only training, even beyond that we like to coach them. And hope I'm very much confident and hopeful that with the coming generation, we'll definitely fill this gap, wherein that day will not be very far, wherein we'll be having equal number of trainers as teachers in the system. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your solution proven and solution driven words. And now from here, I would like to move on question answer round. And to begin with, I want to begin the question answer session first with Prateek, sir. And few questions for the individual speakers and few questions commonly to all the three speakers wherein you can share your views. But sir, the very first question that I would like to ask you then, what we should understand for SolutionBox? Is it an organization for giving trainings to the schools and to the colleges, or is it a recruiting firm which is giving a kind of a platform for providing recruitments to the college students and to the industry people?
Thank you so much for asking this question, and that's where, I mean, you make me feel a little at peace, because that's where we are misunderstood. And because I'd like to tell you that, I mean, that's a great opportunity to share that SolutionBox is a HR consulting agency, a management consulting agency who deals into human resource management that starts from hiring and that ends with the firing. So everything that gets in between, be it recruitment, be it you call it talent acquisition, you call it performance management, you call it training and development. Once we talk about organizational developments, we talk about performance counseling, so we talk about compliances. So we are into everything, I mean, of human resource management. And when we say management consulting, we talk about management consulting through people management, because what we believe, organizations are made of people, men. I mean, then the other resources help them build the growth curve for that company, and that's where people are very important. And even in human resources also, if you focus, human is placed first, then and resource is placed second. So very, I mean, the word itself is very self-expressive, that and the so do the entire vertical of human resource management. So with that note, I would like to state that SolutionBox is a HR consulting firm who also helps students, job seekers, getting jobs in different organizations. Won't you believe, I mean, there are very few organizations. I'm very much excited to share this now, that we not only stop at placing individuals in different industries, we do help them for another few months so that they feel comfortable. Even not only the employee, even also the employer. We do exchange the feedbacks, how one is feeling, how one has been onboarded, and that's how we understand the real time problem of the job seekers nowadays.
Right.
Thank you.
Even the international recruitments also?
Yes, we do international recruitments. One of our firms is there in the Dubai.
Okay.
And we do take care of rest of, even with the SolutionBox also, and for UAE market, Gulf market, we are doing that.
So, being from the HR background and also in touch with the youth, who's getting recruited. So what you believe, you have told in your conversation with us today that a few skills are lacking, which is very much needed. You have told us about that, the communication, the confidence, the professionalism, other things. But as a senior from the outside of the education industry, what do you think, what is lacking in the present education system, which should be incorporated to make the youth employable and to match the employability skills, which has been taken care by the Indian recruiter also and the international one also?
Thank you once again. I mean, you are asking me some very good questions, will definitely help audience here forward.
Yes.
So please allow me to say that there are things wherein we feel that the Indian students have to really work a little more on while they look for a job, and the Indian industry also, I mean the Indian education industry also. The very first thing, very foremost, is the synchronization of Indian education system, what the students are being taught in class to what is expected out of them once they are on the shop floors. That is the one major big gap which is there in the market. Second, the professional etiquettes, the sense of, you see nowadays the youth, I'm sorry, I don't want to offend any of these, but that's the, I mean, I hope they won't mind my this word in a different way, that there are times because of we have been pushing our kids, our students for competition instead collaboration. We are forcing them to be on number one instead being good at and best at what they really want to do. And that's where the restlessness comes in. The social media, the abuse of internet, etc., have created really very deep impact on the fresh brains nowadays. And that's how it is reflected in their behavior once they be a part of, I mean, they don't want to wait for anything. They want every single thing to be done, I mean, in a snap of finger like this. And that's where the education system has to work upon, wherein we need to really work hard for the coming generation to make them believe that, yes, they have time. There's nothing is going to happen if they don't get a job just now. Nothing is going to happen if they don't want things on a click, like as they do on their cell phones. Nothing is going to happen if they don't get a job. Nothing is going to happen if they don't be first. Nothing is going to happen if they don't earn for another few years. What they all need to believe in themselves and really work hard for their passion, and always remember the Indian roots of you see, our tradition is so very rich, our culture is so very rich, and that even if we take a little bit of that, I mean, in our education system, then definitely it is going to help imbibing and developing the entire personality for the students. And third, of course, Indian students, the job seeker, are none less than we are the best talent available in the world. Let me tell you, even in China also, if you look at the number of IT jobs that Indians get, be it in field of architect, be it in the field of management, be it in the field of education, be it in the field of IT overseas. I'm talking about the overseas jobs. Indians are everywhere. Indian societies are everywhere, and we are excelling like anything. You won't believe that. I'll share a very, very small example wherein we were talking about IT, and suddenly someone in UAE talked, oh, that Indian. So you see, IT is resembled or identified by Indians. So that's how, and that good we all are. What we all need to believe in ourselves and be confident, because we are really best across the world.
Right. Right. Thank you so much, sir.
Can
Thank
I
you.
add something, Chitra,
Yes,
here?
ma'am. Please, please, please. Most welcome.
There's one more skill which is lacking, I feel, is written communication. Because
Yes.
industry struggles because of the lack of written communication skills in the students. And that is one thing, you know, writing the emails, writing the reports, that is the students are not well trained on, and that is where they struggle. So that is another skill that we definitely need to look at.
Ma'am, if you would allow, no. So I would like to also add one more thing, and not only writing skills, even the telephone etiquettes. You see, I mean, there are times when we have seen students or the job seeker are in hurry. They just want to sit and get their job done. Whereas I'm not saying anything negative, but I'm saying only the approach, intentions are right, but the way we approach, that is lacking there in the industry.
So, sir, if you have to say, especially when we say nowadays it is all globalization, a global workforce, global family. So one skill that you want to suggest to students to go into the global arena that they should have. In India, they can do many times student says jugaad system, but yes, that is not possible everywhere. But specifically when you are going in a global arena, what one skill you should have?
That's a very hard question. And allow me to appreciate you that you are I mean, you are very good at asking questions. But see, it will be very difficult for me to go for one skill, but one very important skill I can talk about, and that is very well said by Sadhana ji also, and that is about communication. Here I'm not talking about English as a language, French as a language, or Hindi as a language. I'm talking about communication. Right. And communication most of the time bridges all the gaps that may be into personal life, professional life, that may be in India or outside India. That is one skill that includes reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Again, listening to not to answer, just to understand and then answer. So that one skill, if we really work upon, I'm very happy to say that if we excel in that skill, we are going to make wonders in rest of the world.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. And from Mr. Prateek, Kaushik ji, now we move on to Dr. Smita, ma'am. Ma'am, the very first question I want to ask you, though Mr. Prateek has also mentioned that in his speech about professionalism. So specifically, when we talk about the university education in terms of educators and the youth, what do you consider what is professionalism?
Thank you, Chitra, for asking that question, because again, as I told you, we have devised in the university system itself certain touch points. Like the first touch point when the student comes to us for admission getting up over here. The second, when he actually gets into professionalism with the industry connect, that is the first year of MBA when we deal with the students with the summer internship program which they have. And that is where we focus on these four key aspects of education, that is knowledge, the attitude, the skilling, and finally what we term as the habits. Because when the students move out from the university, all of them, they want to earn or get into some big corporate fancy jobs and want to earn some more cash. So CASH. So instead of CASH, we tell them it's more in terms of KASH. So knowledge, attitude, skills, and the habits which you develop while you move out from the university. So one of the key focuses, of course, on having that professional attitude, getting that into the students and helping them move forward with that being inculcated as a habit throughout their life. So instead of being just a learning for 2 years, it can be a lifelong learning for these students once they inculcate certain aspects, certain skills as being a lifelong learner into their own daily routine. And that is what we focus upon as educators, at least in terms of how the learning happens with the students at our place.
Right. Thank you. Ma'am, another question to ask is, nowadays, one thing is which is very important, especially in higher education, is research part. And students are really lacking into research, actual research. Even the projects that they do, they just copy paste and submit like that. But when they go for an international study pattern, there they actually see what is the scenario. And even at the college level, plagiarism is going to face many credit point cutting and everything. So how, as an educator, I'm talking about you yourself in your class as a professor, what you are doing to inculcate the habit of research in the students?
Chitra, I told you during the presentation also that an important thing which we look into the entire education system as the ability and the empowerment to speak up your mind. So as stressed upon initially, that the ability to communicate, the ability to speak your mind, that is one thing which is a very important requirement for students these days. And secondly, with the internship reports or the project reports that the students submit to us, there is a certain group of students who are always interested, who are always somewhere looking into gaining some knowledge. There's another set of students who might look into copying and pasting and putting it across. But we do have some corrective tools like plagiarism check and all, which are there in place. And of course, the students, they need to do the corrective or take the corrective measures there and then. But another thing is to imbibing this culture of research. That is, research, as we say, it's not everyone's cup of tea. But then we do help students to speak up their mind, not to copy and paste, and do research individualistically in terms of what they see as an opportunity. And that is where the mapping is done. And we look into how innovative the students are with these projects which they submit to us.
Okay. So you are also hopeful that in coming future, the research habit will grow and it will gain quality also.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very positive about it.
Ji. Another question, ma'am. Like after pandemic, when the students, when the schools and colleges reopen and students came into the campus, what change you like felt in the student, whether in their behavior, whether in their approach, or the interest shown to in the classrooms for studies? Is there any change that you saw?
I believe initially there was some reluctance from the students, but that was only with regard to the examination system. So they wanted the classes to happen offline because again, that was adding up to their interaction, to the networking within the class, socializing within the class. But when it came down to examination, we wanted it to happen online. So that was one thing because they have been used to that for the past 1.5 to 2 years. But now, since the university has come up with strict regulations that the examination also needs to be conducted offline, definitely students are getting into the previous.
And in your presentation, I have also seen that there is a association of the university with NSDC. So in what terms NSDC has been associated with the university and how it is helpful to the students and to the faculty as well?
As I gave in the presentation itself, that there are certain clubs student clubs which again keep interacting with these industry collaborates, and people from these institutes or these corporations, they keep on visiting the campus. And along with the Atal Incubation Center which we have, we keep having certain programs which are again focused towards the students and even towards the teaching as well as the non-teaching staff. So these are continuous programs for continuous improvement which are there within the university system, which again help majorly in the development of not only the students, but also the teaching staff and the non-teaching staff.
Okay, so training is happening through NSDC also at the campus,
yes.
Right, ma'am. And also industry participation is also there for the university. So I just want to know, I just want to educate myself that for Manipal in Jaipur, is it just for the recruitment purpose, or industry is also being a part of curriculum development and academia in a very directive way?
Yeah, we have the board of studies where there is a mandatory requirement for the industry people to be there. Even for the academic board, which we do have certain industry connects, and regular feedback is taken from the industry with regard to the course designing as well as for redesigning the present courses which we have. So that is a regular input which we have. Again, as I told you, our internship program is placed such that we have a regular EDP programs being conducted within the university, as well as the internships in requirement with what the industry actually requires, and the students being the first touch point for them. We do look into what are the gaps which are there and then work on that adequately.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. One last question to ask is, when we talk about the alumni part, so how much alumni is associated with the university, especially in terms of that entrepreneurial projects or incubator centers or any other way? So is alumni actively involved with the university part?
Yeah, specifically with regard to the engineering thing, we have a lot of startups which have come up from, because more into the technical aspect, the engineering students are more active that way. In case of the management students, if I speak up, the B school started in 2013. So we just have 8 batches which have gone from this particular place, but we do boast of a lot many entrepreneurial setups which have come up from our B school graduates. So, Chef Vikas Khanna, if you know, he's not from Manipal, Jaipur, but he's from the main Manipal campus, Vikas Khanna. And we have many other entrepreneurs who are doing very well into the industry. Even a B school, because they just started with that. So ours is just a small baby, 8 years old. So we are still getting into that. But the main campus definitely boasts of many entrepreneurial hits which are coming up into the market space.
Right. Thank you so much, Smita ma'am, for the answers that you have given. You have clarified a lot many things. And now I would like to ask few of the questions from Madam Sadhana Deshmukh ji. Sorry to keep you waiting, ma'am. And the very first question that I want to ask you is, you have talked about quality training. I, from your experience, want to understand what exactly is the meaning when we say a quality training, what exactly it means.
One is quality training. How to, of course, it's very subjective what is quality. But then when we create the training sessions, I will tell you from my experience, of course, 30 years experience in training. So and I have a lot of experience in content creation when I joined the training industry. So I look into what the trainer is going to do, what is our requirement, and only then, and then of course one is quality when it comes to the content, whether it's whatever you whether it's customized. Secondly, the way the trainer is going to deliver it, that is another factor. So both are very important, whether it's customized and whether the trainer is capable of delivering it the way you want to be delivered. And there were incidences where I saw the trainer and then I said, no, next session somebody else is going to do. Because usually I go and sit through in case if the trainer is new, I go and sit through the session to get a feel of it. So quality is basically what is required by you, whether it's customized, and of course, whether it is communicated well, whether it is conducted well. Because training can go haywire if the trainer conducts only the games and the other activities, and if there is no briefing after that. Because training is a very dicey field. There are trainers who would only conduct the activities, and when the trainees move out of the session, they will say, oh, we enjoyed the training. No, that's not is required. What have you learned? What is your takeaway from there? So if that question is asked, and that is what happens with us, because they know that impact analysis is coming in 3 months. So when they sit through the session, they look into that, what is it that I can go and apply? back in my classroom or back in my office. So that is quality.
Mm-hmm. Right, ma'am. And even you told about the education units in your presentation, and you have talked about the different aspects of different subjects under which the training is being given. So I just want to educate myself that what are the different fields or the areas of studies, like you have talked about medical science. So what other streams you are also catering for training?
We are currently the health science university, because medical institute is the big institute. Then we have dental, then we have nursing, then we have architecture, we have communication, we have research institute, we have physiotherapy, we have pharma institute. So it's actually a varied, it's a mixed bag when you talk about it. But majorly into health sciences, out of which medical science, sciences, they have their own body where they say that okay, these are the training programs. But apart from that, whatever is not covered there, then we do it. The staff development center takes it up. So the same way we are building, we have started the dental education unit, where subject matter, subject related is taken by them and we support them. But then the other skills are like, when it comes to other skills, essential skills, the staff development center conducts it for them. Nursing the same way. So we are slowly building up these educational units where each institute bifurcates what are the subject related or technical, what are the other skills which are required by nurses or by the dentist or by the doctors. So see, mentoring skills is one thing, we are doing it across, because that is one thing after pandemic. This is one skill is going to be very, very essential for everybody. How do you mentor your students?
Right. Right. Ma'am, since you have just talked about mentoring, though this thing has been talked by Prateek sir, but I want to ask it from you. And nowadays we are listening to, there are earlier we used to say that such and such person is a trainer, but nowadays lot many new words are coming. So one word is coach also. So what according to you is the difference between a trainer and a coach?
Okay. I feel, that is my understanding of mentoring and coaching. See, coach is somebody who actually is with you when you're doing that particular, thing. It's like coach is for games. Somebody, the coach is on the field, on the job. Whereas mentor is the person who will understand and then help you to rectify certain difficulties that you are facing. So that's the minute difference, but then your coach can become a mentor for sure.
Right. Prateek sir, if you want to add something into that. Sorry, ma'am, I think you want to say something more.
No, that is how it is. See, a small example, as he was talking about, Prateek was talking about Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli had a coach who taught him the techniques of how to play. Whereas I'm very sure he had a mentor who would take care of his mental health. That's the difference.
Yeah, definitely. So Prateek sir, you want to add something into it? If you.
Yeah, of course. I'd like to add something here. So very well said by Madam Sadhana. And see, the difference between coaching, consulting, mentoring, training is there. Mentoring can get you the solutions, okay, where a mentor can get you the solution. A consultant can get you the solution. Will talk about the problem one is facing. Mentor will talk about the one is facing. A trainer will talk about the problem you are facing, and will definitely try to get into the problem and find you a solution. Whereas what coaches do is to help you find the solutions for your problem by your own self. Coaches partner the journey of finding the solution by my own self. So say for example, if I'm struggling in something, so what am I supposed to do? I go to my mentor and my mentor says, no, in X, Y, Z cases, this is what has happened. And this is how I have done it. You do it this way. Trainer says, this is the standard practice of doing this. The consultant says, no. We know the best practices and you do it this way. So we get into the problem. Whereas the coach is the very first question of question here it comes is, what is it that you want? Okay, this is the problem. You have identified the problem very well. You have done the half job. Now, what is it that you want? You want to give the solution I have for you that might not fit well. Why? Because that is a solution which I have taken in different circumstances, which might not be as suitable as you are looking for. So that the effectiveness goes down. Whereas coaches work and partners the journey of finding the solution for their own self, and that's we celebrate. Once we achieve that objective, we set goals, we work on that, we work on accountabilities, and once we achieve on that, we celebrate, and that's where the real confidence comes in. Like every time, then if I'm being coached, then I have found that key. And I can work out those things will definitely in by my cognitive memory and will definitely, I'll develop that habit of solving my problem on my own instead of looking for something. So that's the only thing I would like to contribute here. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Can I add one small thing to what Prateek said?
Please.
Mentoring is basically driven by mentee, whether mentee wants to go back or no.
Right.
Yeah, and that is where the mentor becomes very important actually. You really have to be a good mentor so that the mentee comes back every now and then.
Yeah. Thank you for both the viewpoints. Much appreciated. Sadhana ma'am, you have told us about skills also, and you have, in a very brief manner, you have given us something about skills. I want to ask in particular about critical thinking skills. How much they are important in a life to grow?
Oh, absolutely important.
Ji.
Critical thinking is absolutely important because that is where you can take decisions on your feet, and you need to get trained on that. So when I say personal qualities or personal skills, critical thinking is one of the skills that even the trainer should have, and they should pass it on to the students for sure.
Right. So with this, I would like to thank to the trio for today's webinar, Madam Sadhana ji, Mr. Prateek ji, and Dr. Smita ji for coming and for giving their viewpoint to us and answering our questions and giving their time to us. Much appreciated. But before ending the webinar, if you want to just give one viewpoint of yours or some guidelines to especially the younger generation, those who are listening, what should they focus in their life? One sentence, few lines, few words, each one of you. That will be much more helpful for the youth. To begin with, I should ask from Dr. Smita ji.
So that one-liner will be that no student is average. Every one of you is special, and definitely do upskill yourself, and you can prove whatever you think. So no thought limitations with you, and go beyond whatever you think you can. You can definitely do.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Ji. So the next will be Madam Sadhana ji.
I would like to tell the youth, they should do what they like and not what others are doing. And even the parents should not force. The moment they are in the field of their own choice, they really excel. And of course, yes, putting in efforts is in every field. No field is easy. But if you choose a field of your liking, life becomes easy.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am. And then to Mr. Prateek.
well, I only would like to say that happiness is a habit. So we need to cultivate it. And the youngsters should look for their happiness, should chase their dreams, should focus more about their passion, and forget about money and success, because money and success are the byproducts only. Just give your best and be happy.
Ji, thank you so much, all my guest panelists. Your words are really, really important and worth a guideline for all the youngsters, those who are listening to us, and to the educators and to the trainers also. Thank you for coming, and we are looking forward to have more conversation from all three of you in future as well, if we got the chance. And to the audience, those who are listening to us, thank you for joining us on YouTube Live, and we will meet you tomorrow at the same time at 8 p.m. with another speaker, another webinar, and another topic. So goodbye, and God bless all of you for today.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Huh.